How to know about AstraZeneca Oxford COVID-19 vaccine in overview. This video is part 4 of 7-part series of Road to Vaccine Manufacture. To watch the other 3-part, click on the link below. This video is brought to you by HealthyRN Ways. While some vaccine makers are using new approaches to fight the coronavirus disease 2019, COVID-19, others are turning to more established methods to end the pandemic. AstraZeneca and Oxford University have been working on an adenovirus-based vaccine, ChAdOx1nCoV-19, AZD1222. The vaccine is a viral vector vaccine that uses a modified adenovirus, the virus that causes the common cold, that contains genetic material from the SARS-CoV-2 virus. The vaccine was developed quickly since this vaccine technology has been around for decades. Oxford had been studying adenovirus-based vaccines for a number of other diseases like the Zika virus when COVID-19 emerged. Researchers adapted a weakened chimpanzee adenovirus to develop the vaccine, and a Phase 1 trial began in April 2020, with more than 1,000 vaccinations given in the United Kingdom. Initial Phase 3 trial results were published in early December and investigated how well the vaccine worked in more than 11,000 of the nearly 24,000 people over the age of 18 enrolled across 4 trial groups in the United Kingdom, Brazil, and South Africa. There has been some controversy surrounding this vaccine, with dosing discrepancies in some study groups, and a move by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, FDA, to pause the U.S. trial because of unexplained illness. The FDA restarted the trial after reviewing the safety data. There are not any hearings scheduled yet on an emergency use authorization by the FDA, and the U.S. clinical trial is scheduled to last until September 2021. How it works. The AstraZeneca Oxford vaccine is a recombinant adenoviral vector vaccine. Recombinant vaccines use a small piece of genetic material from a pathogen, like SARS-CoV-2, to trigger an immune response. A specific piece of the virus can be targeted, and recombinant vaccines are generally safe to use in a large population of people, even those with chronic health problems or people who are immunocompromised. The AstraZeneca Oxford vaccine is a recombinant adenovirus vaccine that uses a weakened live pathogen. One drawback of recombinant adenoviral vector vaccines is that booster shots may be required over time. Examples of similar types of recombinant vaccines, that do not use live pathogens, are pneumococcal vaccines and vaccines for meningococcal disease. While recombinant vaccines are common, the only commercially available adenovirus-based vaccine of this type is a rabies vaccine for animals. Adenovirus vaccines can pose some problems in that the adenovirus is so common that the vaccine may not be as effective once booster doses are given, or that some people may already have immunity to the virus used in the vaccine. The AstraZeneca Oxford vaccine was tested using 2 doses given about a month apart. The dosing used in the trials is unclear, with different accounts of the dosing changes first uncovered by Reuters news service. Reporters with the news agency were given 2 different answers by AstraZeneca and Oxford about whether a subgroup in the UK arm of the study received half doses of the vaccine purposefully or by accident. The discrepancy was uncovered after preliminary results were published. How effective is it? Whether by accident or on purpose, the dosing change appears to have been lucky. According to the trial report, the AstraZeneca Oxford vaccine is about 70% effective on average. This average was calculated after a 62% effective rate was observed in people who received the full vaccine dose compared with 90% effective in those who received the half dose. Additional reviews are ongoing, and it remains unclear at this time why a half dose of vaccine might have worked better than a full second dose. When will it be available? If and when the vaccine will be available is a big question. AstraZeneca had prepared distribution information when preliminary results were released, but arguments over whether the half-dosing of the vaccine was intentional and a pause in the trial over safety concerns may have slowed progress on the vaccine. The company said trials are still underway around the world, but that, pending regulatory approval, as many as 3 billion doses could be available in 2021. A number of countries have already ordered doses of the vaccine and authorized it for emergency use. Once available, the vaccine may be able to be more easily distributed than some other options. Rather than extremely cold temperatures like some other vaccine options, the Astrazeneca Oxford vaccine will require only standard refrigeration, and is estimated to cost around $3 to $4 per dose. The cheapest among the other vaccines manufacturers. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, is leading vaccination efforts, and all orders of the COVID-19 vaccine, regardless of the manufacturer, will go through the agency. CDC is overseeing the distribution of vaccines, too. CDC's Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices, ACIP, has made recommendations on how to prioritize vaccine supplies. Healthcare workers and people living in long-term care facilities were the first priority groups to receive authorized COVID-19 vaccines. State and local health departments are coordinating efforts to distribute doses of the vaccines as they become available. The vaccine should be available both in physician offices and retail locations like pharmacies that administer other vaccines. Who can get the AstraZeneca vaccine? The initial clinical trial for the AstraZeneca Oxford vaccine focused on people aged 18 to 55, and new trials with people older than 55 began in August. There had been trials involving children, but that group was removed from trial data in mid-December. AstraZeneca and Oxford have not made any statements on the change. Side effects and adverse events. Generally, side effects of COVID-19 vaccines have included arm pain, swelling, and redness where the vaccine was injected. There have been a few other adverse effects reported, though, including one that resulted in a pause in the clinical trial. Adverse reactions are considered to be medication reactions directly caused by a vaccine, whereas a side effect is a physical reaction to a medication. The preliminary report on the vaccine published in The Lancet revealed generally good results in terms of side effects, but there were a few concerning adverse reactions. There were 3 cases of transverse myelitis, a condition where there is inflammation of the spinal cord, in people who received the vaccine. These illnesses were determined to be unlikely to have been caused by the vaccine. A number of deaths were also reported in the study, most in the control group, but those deaths were unrelated to the vaccine and were due to incidents like traffic accident and homicide. Funding and development. The vaccine was developed through a partnership between Oxford and AstraZeneca. Funding support for the study was also provided by United Kingdom Research and Innovation, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the NIHR Oxford Biomedical Research Centre, and the Thames Valley and South Midlands NIHR Clinical Research Network. What you need to know about the AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine trial pause. Pharmaceutical company AstraZeneca paused late-stage human clinical trials of COVID-19 vaccines around the world on September 9 after a participant in the UK became ill. The patient may have developed spinal cord inflammation called transverse myelitis, but details have not been officially released. It is unknown whether the person who became ill received the vaccine or a placebo. They received the vaccine. A committee of independent experts commissioned by AstraZeneca is reviewing safety data surrounding the event, which is protocol for large clinical trials when an unexpected or unexplained illness occurs in a participant. We will be guided by this committee as to when the trials could restart, so that we can continue our work at the earliest opportunity to provide this vaccine broadly, equitably, and at no profit during this pandemic. What this means for you: although clinical trials are on hold, they are not terminated. Hope is not lost that a COVID-19 vaccine will become available in the future. Researchers from 9 pharmaceutical companies are working together and following protocols to ensure that a safe and effective COVID-19 vaccine will ultimately be approved, manufactured, and available to the public. What does a pause mean? The pause in the Phase 3 clinical trials does not mean that there will never be a vaccine against SARS-CoV-2, the virus that causes COVID-19, and that we'll never be able to leave our homes. The pause ensures that a standard review process is taking place to safeguard the integrity of all 9 of the Phase 3 clinical trials currently underway for a COVID-19 vaccine. During clinical trials, Mild side effects are expected, such as pain at the injection site, headache, and fatigue. Each of these side effects can be a sign that the immune system is responding and creating antibodies. But symptoms like headache and fatigue occur with many illnesses, and may be coincidental occurrences in people participating in clinical trials. Those mild side effects are not cause for alarm. When unexpected side effects or more serious illness occurs in a Phase 3 participant, scientists temporarily pause a clinical trial until they investigate the situation. While the Astrazeneca trial is paused, 8 other companies are in the middle of Phase 3 clinical trials: Coronavirus Vaccine Tracker, BioNTech, GlaxoSmithKline, Johnson & Johnson, Merck, Moderna, Novavax, Pfizer, Sanofi. What is the process for developing a new vaccine? The process for creating a new vaccine involves 6 stages, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC. The first 2 stages involve exploration and a preclinical stage, during which scientists do lab work and begin studying the effects of a newly created vaccine on cells and animals. The third stage is clinical development, which has 3 phases. 1. Phase 1. During a Phase 1 study, scientists try to determine the strongest vaccine dose that causes the fewest side effects. This helps determine the proper dose to administer to people. A few dozen people participate in Phase 1 studies. 2. Phase 2. In a Phase 2 study, the vaccine is tested among hundreds of people who have similar characteristics, such as age, gender, and medical conditions, to determine how effective the vaccine is in certain types of people. If Phase 2 studies are successful, people will produce antibodies, and the clinical trial moves into Phase 3. 3. Phase 3. The purpose of Phase 3 clinical trials is to evaluate safety of a vaccine. Thousands of people participate in Phase 3 trials, and scientists continue to monitor the effectiveness of the vaccine, as well as side effects that people experience. Next steps: once Phase 3 clinical trials restart, they will continue until there is enough evidence of vaccine safety and effectiveness. Then, the 4th step in the vaccine development process can take place. The vaccine goes to the Food and Drug Administration, FDA, for regulatory review and approval. When the vaccine receives approval, the 5th step can proceed. The vaccine starts to be manufactured and distributed. Testing doesn't end there. Quality control tests are performed throughout the manufacturing process, and manufacturing facilities are inspected by the FDA. Studies to monitor side effects, also called adverse events, in vaccinated people take place after the vaccine is approved, licensed, and administered to the public. For now, we wait as AstraZeneca's committee of independent experts do their review. We continue to wash our hands, wear our masks, and stay 6 feet apart to do what we can to prevent or slow the spread of SARS-CoV-2. There are several variations of COVID-19 vaccines in Phase 3 testing, but all of them need to transmit a tiny bit of the SARS-CoV-2 virus into your body. The tiny bit of genetic material is not enough to make you sick, but just enough so your immune system can recognize it as foreign material and create antibodies against it. That response primes your immune system so that if you come into contact with SARS-CoV-2 in the future, your body can attack it right away, preventing a full-blown illness. The world is watching and waiting for a COVID-19 vaccine, so hearing there is a pause may be disheartening. The good news is that it means researchers are following the scientific process rather than succumbing to political pressure to quickly produce a vaccine. By the time this video uploaded, other vaccine manufacturers have release in the USA and around the world, as people are in dire need it. Have you had your shot? Which vaccine will you get? Put your comment below. This is the part 4 of Series 7 of Race to COVID-19 Vaccine. Please watch the part 1, 2, 3 series on my previous videos. Like, share and subscribe to my channels for more videos on coronavirus. Thank you for watching. See you on my next video. Ma salama.